Regie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is the Comics Today show. This is a show that we do on Wednesday to celebrate New Comic Book Day. And I was able to hit up my local comic shop today, and I have a nice stack of books sitting off to my side. Just some really awesome covers, some speculative plays, and just some books that I am looking forward to reading. It has been a very long day for me with back-to-back meetings, and I have not read a single book. But in a few seconds, what we are going to do is actually go to the chat, and we are going to ask people to shout out what they picked up at their local comic shops. And if they had an opportunity to read something, letting us know what it is that we should put on the top of our stack. If this is your first time joining one of my live streams or even seeing one of my videos, I definitely want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button. That way, you don't miss out on any of the content that I release from the channel. And I promise I will do a better job of saying subscribe in future videos. So during this show, we typically talk about some comics that have come out. We talk about news and current events, and I oftentimes have a guest or two on the show to help me to make sense of some things. And tonight we are going to have another YouTuber join me, and I'll tell you, this has been something that has been in the works for a while. It hasn't happened, honestly, because I was like crazy busy and kept forgetting to ask the question. And we were finally able to make it happen tonight. And so I'm excited to have him on in a little bit. Now, with that said, I am going to go to the chat here. And the way we are going to do our shout outs for folks is, again, to get them to identify some books that they may have picked up in the LCS or the mail today. And again, if there's things that are worth reading, let us know what is going on. So I'll go to the chat here in a hot second. I'm looking to see if anything comes through. And while I do that, I want to show you guys this awesome cover right here. This is Daredevil issue number 25, a gorgeous cover that I picked up for my LCS today. I want to say it's like a limited print run. I want to say it might have been out of the UK or something like that. I honestly can't remember. I saw the comic there on the counter when my guy was getting them bagged and boarded and organized. And I said, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to take that home. It reminds me of that Echo cover that I showed you guys a few weeks ago. And this thing is just really, really dope. So I don't know if anybody saw that right there, but there you go. Kid Collector, he picked up 62 copies of ASM 55 second print. Goodness gracious, that is a lot of copies, my friend. That's a lot of copies. Brandon, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling through. Yeah, did you see that? Did you see that? There is a graphic fantasy 1 and 2 facsimile that is out right now from, I think it was from Image. I was in the shop and I looked down and I said, what is that doing on the shelf? And sure enough, it was issue 2 when I picked it up. Issue 1 was sitting right behind it. This is the first appearance of the Dragon. Before he became Savage Dragon, he was known as the Dragon. And I am pleased to say that I actually own issues 1 through 3 in the collection. And it was just cool to kind of see those on the shelf right there. Dan says, picking up his pull list next week at the LCS. Most excited for Venom 33. That's what's up. DB is in the house. How you doing? He says, Amazing Spider-Man 55 and Wolverine 1. Volume 7. Scrolling through some of the comments, Eternal Thunder says the LCS did not get their shipment in today. That is very disappointing. What is that? Snow in the East Coast? Yeah, man, that snow, something brutal for you guys over there. Thor issue 11 was one that I picked up. I also snagged X-Men issue number 17, a pretty cool Storm cover right there. And I think I told you guys about this cover, I want to say in one of the live shows that I did. So I saw that. It's already on my pull list, so I went ahead and snagged it. And then, of course, I picked up one of the ASM 55. This is the second print, and I actually have multiple copies of this. I think I ordered some online, and I was able to pick up some from the local comic shop as well. So Jesus is like, that's a lot of comics. Squirrel Man is 62 more than me. That's a lot of copies, man. I respect it. Nate is in the back issue bin, says he picked up Godzilla issue number 1. That's what's up. Doug is in here. He says he picked up Department of Truth number 1, the second print. Well done. I actually, was that Department of Truth? I think it was Department of Truth that I actually sent out as a Patreon gift to somebody along with a bunch of other stuff. There's a bunch of Patreon gifts that I mailed earlier today. And one of them, I do believe, had a variant for Department of Truth issue number 1, I think, in there. It's a pretty dope cover by a subscriber. A subscriber actually did this cover, and I bought 2 copies of it and decided to give one of them away. So scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing if anybody's throwing some stuff up. Doesn't look like it's the Tiger says that Storm cover is fire. That was, to me, one of the better covers that was out for Black History Month. That was one I thought was really cool. I think it was Black History Month. I could be making that up. Amazing Spider-Man issue number 58. Not a bad cover. Not a bad cover right there. So there we go. We picked up Venom issue number 33 with Noel coming out of Eddie's mouth. Just not a good look right there. Not a good look. Bello says he said, let's see, bought Venom, Hulk, Strange Academy, Hellions, High Republic, Firepower, Redemption, Canto 2. I actually read Canto. It was not bad. It was not bad. Deep Beyond, a few other books right there. Is that Man's World? Yeah, Man's World. So a couple of books right there. Jay is in the house. He said picked up 2 copies of ASM 55, the 1 in 50 variant. Congrats on that. That's what's up. Scrolling through, seeing what else. Jerry says, love that Venom 33 cover. That's what's up. Joey says, I can never make it to the LCS on Wednesday. Man, you are not the only one. I am sometimes challenged. And I'll be honest, I was on back-to-back calls, video calls for most of the morning. I could not wait to leave my house for at least a little bit to get to the LCS. So this is Immortal Hulk issue number 43 right there. I'm not sure what's going on with that cover. I don't know who these yahoos are on the cover of that, to be honest with you. I'm certain that I'll figure it out. Picked up Hellions. I've been reading Hellions since the beginning. I think it's a fun little book. So I continue to buy that. Hellions right there. And then I also picked up this book right here. Spoiler alert, there is some, I think a little bit of like some retconning that is actually going on here in Avengers issue number 42. There's something in here related to Thor and the Phoenix Force. So I'm not gonna spoil that for anybody, but my LCS told me about it. So I was like, let me just go ahead and snag 1 copy of that. So, oh my goodness, my post office lost my comics, sent them back to the LCS. Never a good look. That is never a good look. The Tiger says just left the LCS with X Factor, Marauders, Venom, and Sound. What was that? Sound and Fury. Oh, trade paperback. Okay, there you go. Nice stuff, man. A lot of definitely some mutant stuff going on in the first part of that. Very nice. I'm not familiar with Sound and Fury, to be honest with you. Oh, and Hellions. You got Hellions as well. Lot of mutant stuff going on right there, my friend. Milt's asking the question if anybody got Redemption issue number 1. So hopefully if folks got it, they'll shout it out. Love the Infinity cover on Hellions, says my man Chuck. How you doing, brother? Hillbilly Comics is in the house. Said didn't get to the LCS today, but I didn't think I have any pulls this week. Oh, it must be a light week. That's how it was for me last week. It was definitely on the lighter side of things, but it looks like this week, at least a lot of people actually were able to make it to the LCS, unlike last week. I remember when we did last week's show, there was not a whole lot of action. It was not a whole lot of action going on as we were doing the shout outs for people that were actually, able to make it to the LCS. What is this? I'm liking the Phoenix story in Avengers more than I thought I would. I'm going to be honest with you, Jerry, I have not read a single word of it. I have not read a single word of it. But when my LCS gave me the heads up on what was happening in that Avengers, I decided to go ahead and pick it up. I thought it was a good time to maybe snag that one to see what kind of magic could be made. Matt Woods is in here. He says, I just picked up and by picked it up, you mean you were on the internets buying it from what, the eBays, or where were you buying that from, Matt Woods? It's probably sold out now. It's like 30 seconds later, so it's probably completely sold out at that point. Let me see. I didn't even know there was a 1 in 50. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I love it when people are like, hey, Reggie, did you hear about this? I just bought it. Oh, it's sold out. I'm like, thanks for, can you tell me before you buy it? Let me scroll. I will tell you, I just bought some awesome Batman books. I had an opportunity to interview another a blogger for Go Collect, and we were talking about Lee Bermejo. and super fantastic artist. I think the recording of this podcast will actually be released this upcoming Sunday, so you may want to listen to that. But Lee Bermejo, and it took me like a good 30 minutes to get that man's name right. Lee Bermejo. He has done these really fantastic covers for Detective Comics. So I had the interview with the blogger. And no sooner did I shut that camera off, and this goes to Matt Woods' point, I was online finding this guy's comics. And I bought several of his comics because I was so intrigued by his artwork that I was like, I have to get these books. And they're actually sitting across the room. So I'm unable to reach them at the moment, but they are over there. So Hyper Combo Comics is in the house. He says, not often I get to catch the stream, so happy to be here. We are happy to have you, my friend, however you can make it. Doug says Bermejo is fantastic. Chuck, there was a comment. Lee Bermejo has dope covers. Yes, he does, man. And again, I definitely encourage you guys to listen to the podcast when it drops on like Spotify and the Apple platform. For Go Collect, if you search for Go Collect or Regie Collects, you should be able to find this recording, and I think it drops on Sunday. We spoke for about 30 minutes about Lee Bermejo, what he's working on, what makes his style special, why maybe he's underrated, why maybe he is going to be a big deal in a couple of years. So it was a really interesting conversation with this blogger. So if you have any interest in that, I definitely want to encourage you guys to check it out. So Joey, the stunt master, says, greetings, Regie, along with the Gibbon gang. I haven't been able to hit the comic shop for the last couple of weeks. I'm going to make some time on Friday. I have a feeling, Joey, that they are going to be happy to see you, just like we are happy to have you here in the live stream, my friend. So again, if you guys are joining a little bit late and it looks like we had a huge influx of people that just flowed into the room here, I definitely I am watching our guest behind the scenes. I'm trying to run a professional show here while our guest is in the green room just acting up, right? So we did just have a huge influx of people that came into the room. So I definitely want to welcome everyone to the live stream here. We are going to actually introduce our guest a little bit early, but to get there, I need to make a transition. So I'm going to throw a commercial up real quick, make the transition, and then we will be right back. So please bear with me for like 1 minute and like 10 seconds. So I want to welcome to the show right now. I had like a whole introduction plan, but we are just going to ad-lib this next section. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Can I please interrupt?
Oh, shoot. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Oh my gosh. You interrupted me out of my, dude, it's good. It's good. I'm working on my tone. You know, I'm trying to get toned up. I'm trying to bring the heat, man, because every time I watch you, I feel like I'm just a little bit more out of shape than I should be.
No, brother, trust me. I am all dad bod these days. So my shape is more of a straight up and down kind of shape at the moment.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, I feel it.
It's
my
not
camera's
what it
doing
was
something
before.
weird. What's up?
I don't know what
it's all good. We'll figure it out.
It must have been all the pump, right? It must have been the pump that just blew up the camera. That's what I'm
thinking that's what it is. It should correct itself here in a second. If it doesn't, I can pop out and do a different thing.
That's a nice shirt right there.
You know, I was feeling it. I was feeling it today, man. It helps me get through some of these vigorous workouts that I'm doing. Cause in between comic analysis, you know, I'm trying to stay fit, you know, for the fam. It's not me.
Comic book soldiers. All right. So I had an opportunity in December to join this guy right here, Comic Tom,
right,
in a video. He reached out to me and he said, would you be interested? And I think my response might have been like, does someone say no to that? And I'm like, I think it was like, does somebody say no to that? Let's do it. Tell me what I need to do. That might have been like the gist of it. Am I off base with that, Tom?
No, man, you were spot on, and it was really long overdue. And yeah, you know, we do these videos every single week, but you know, you're one of the channels that I've been following for years now. Oh yeah, and the screen's fixing itself. I love it. But yeah, you know, it's something we chatted about a bunch. We're homies. We chat, you know, pretty regularly, and yeah, you know, it's like, hey, this is a huge community. Let's get some peeps on screen. You can help me do it. I mean, I'm doing this grind every week. Can you use the help?
And here's the thing, man. I don't know that people fully appreciate how so many of us actually do talk behind the scenes. And,
Sure.
and there are some of us that are on camera together. But besides that, there are many of us that still exchange direct messages and text messages and phone calls to just catch up and be like, how is it going? Like, what are you struggling with? What's working? Right. And so you have done that for me and vice versa for a couple of years now. And but this is, I think, only the third time that we've actually done something together, only the second time that we've done something live, but we still talk a fair bit.
That's right, man. And that's because we're a community here and we're doing similar things. We're trying to just bring the entertainment and bring just some fun content to a community we both love. So with COVID and just like how crazy things have been with social distancing, I do a lot of my content with people actually at the table with me.
Yep.
And considering that that's not something we can really do without, you know, quarantining ourselves and getting COVID, you know, tested before we get together. You know, my dad's coming in here. I got Jeff and Russ, Ryan. There's a lot of people.
Mhm.
So with that said, we've been kind of just juggling, you know, spinning plates here, which is why we've been a little behind making some of these community things happen, but it's all happening and it's coming.
How difficult of a
soon.
transition has that been for you, right? Because I think, like, I'm an introvert. I'm good solo, but I think you might be like an extrovert. I think you, as a true extrovert, like enjoy the back and forth with people. Am I off base with that?
Oh, not at all, man. It's a totally different thing because a lot of the inspiration behind the content that we made from the beginning has been like, yo, we're just gonna extend the conversation from the LCS
Yep.
or the kitchen when my homie Jeff comes in with the new box of Golden Age comics. The idea was like, let's just go to the table and then turn the camera on and the community can come join us.
Yep.
And there's a magic that happens. Like there's sincere, like authentic reactions that you only get in person. That's why we go to conventions, right?
Yeah.
Like to see each other, to be in each other's company, but also to see this stuff in person because it's entirely different than looking at a screen. So I try to harness that, but in the last half a year, yeah, it's been a huge transition, one that we have combated with trying to make it so we can just remotely make the content. So that's why you're seeing the sensei now on the trending video consistently versus the early days, because we had to make him a set. We had to get him a camera, like, you know, which means we have to upgrade everything. And it's just, you know, it's time and money. And I'm on a grind every week. You know, my job doesn't stop for this comic fam. So
Yep. And that's the thing, man, is that I think to your earlier point, people have been very appreciative of the type of content that people, YouTubers, have continuously delivered to the comic book community, because this quarantine, I think, has made it difficult for people. You can't go to the LCS. You can't hang out with your brothers. You can't go to the con. But what you can do is turn on your computer and tune in to Comic Tom and Bueller and Jim Mint and Very Gary, right? And have like that same type of thing, just distanced and through a screen. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. And we're feeling it more than ever now because the members of our community, they speak about it. We'll get DMs, we'll get tags, we'll get the comments, and it really keeps us going. Like, I'm so appreciative. Like, I am so grateful. I don't even talk about it enough on the mic because I'm so focused on the comics. But dude, it is a special thing to have any responsibility in this community, to have people want to watch. It's humbling, and it's something that just gives me so much damn excitement every single day.
brother, I still remember being in the kitchen and being like, is anybody even going to watch this? And then people do, and you're like, oh my gosh, people are actually paying attention. They're tuning in. This is pretty cool, right?
Right.
So I forget that screen, brother. Don't even worry about it. So I wanted to bring you on because in December, again, you had me on the hottest comics list, and I had an opportunity to talk about a book. I think it was a Star Wars book. I had to practice the pronunciation of the names because I'm like, I don't know what that word is. So I had to practice it right. But I also watched a lot of the videos, and I watched the videos because I wanted to make sure that what I sent to you fit with what you were doing, which is high energy, right? It is informative. It's high energy. But as I watched those videos, I had a lot of questions.
Sure.
Right. About like, well, why does he do this video and what's the purpose of it and how should people use it? So I'm like, instead of me making it up and speculating, I'm like, well, let me have the dude on and let's talk about it. Right. So what we are specifically talking about is how is the top 10 hottest comics video. So the first question is, how often do you actually put that video out?
Ooh, great question. Okay. So I do 2 videos. They're very different. And one video, which you're speaking of, is actually the trending hot comics list. That video I've been doing for over 2.5 years, every single week, convention or no convention, weekend, no times off, every single week. My Friday, sometimes, we've had a couple days where it's like, oh, maybe it's a Saturday or a Friday, but we release it every Saturday. And that's been my grind for over 2.5 years. And that's the trending video. And that's based off of the, just the change of the market week to week with books that are spiking and having a higher demand in the aftermarket, in the secondary sales market, because of news, because of leaks and narratives that are evolving in comics that are coming out every single week, speculation, investing, a toy comes out and there's a picture. There's a lot of reasons why a book would make the trending list. And then I do a second video. The first video, the trending video, is done with a co-host, traditionally Russ Bright. He's an Overstreet price guide advisor. So he gives a ton of valuable insight. We joke and call him the sensei on the mic because he's the kind of dude who will just surprise you. You'll think you know everything you know about a comic book, and then the next thing you know, he's relating it to a Misfits song, something by Danzig, because the dude knows just everything, right? But then we have the hot video, which is the hottest back issues of the week. And that's a video I do with Gem Mint. And the videos couldn't be more different than one another because the trending video is about what happened in the last 7 days as it pertains to spikes because of news and such. The hot video is really like the health of the comic market. Those comics are in a different threshold. It's a different bracket altogether. It's the comics that we like to say are defining a we're defining the comics that define a generation of collectors. Okay. Because these are the ones that are causing major sales to happen, the highest ends, but then subsequently affect the rest of the market, kind of from the other direction. So 2 different lists. We're talking about different comics, but with the purpose of informing the community and entertaining them.
So when we talk about the 10 trending books,
sure.
In those videos that you put out, there is a lot of data in there. At least I feel there's a lot of data, right? And you typically highlight the prices for graded books and also the prices for raw books, which I think is helpful, like perspective for people to have. But then depending upon the book, you also make mention of the percent increase in the books that have been sold period over period, again, week from week. Is that correct? Is that how you guys are doing it? It is the percent increase week over week for a specific book. Is that how you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. When we're talking about something that's trending, the best way to spot it and to see it in a very transparent way is to measure the change week over week in the comic sales. The trending video, we largely use eBay data. This is all stuff that we can check out and validate. Public. It's public. Everything, actually, matter of fact, everything we discuss, near everything is public because the trending video, as well as the hot video, is I like to call it like our responsibility is to try to capture the historical record of comic sales for the last week prior. So these are things that have already happened. These are things that have hit the market, they're spiking, and our audience they're likely seeing these comics on Instagram. They're seeing them come up on Facebook posts.
Because people are buying them and posting them and saying, I just got this book, right? So, I mean, exactly. But again, what you're doing is you're highlighting the prices, but you're also highlighting the volume increase, which is in my mind, like a factor of how fast those books are turning over, because you could have a single sale that drives up the price. But what you're basically saying is that there's also a lot of volume, a lot of transactions associated with this book as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And it's also in reverse, the same thing. Like, it doesn't mean that a book is trending because it's sold, because sometimes we're reporting on books that are $4. They were not selling before, but now they are. But because of sheer demand and quantity, they're still selling at an entry level. It doesn't mean they're not trending. So we assess based off of the percentage, coupling that with average prices, high prices, and then above all else too, this is a list that's compiled from a larger list on Key Collector Comics. Key Collector puts together the top 20 every single week for the community at large. You can get it on Thursday when it's released, and we hit the mic Friday to chat about all of the data, and we pick from that list of 10 books that we feel are the most important, the ones that should make a top 10 because of the information, because we're trying to entertain the community, and some books are more exciting than others and we think need to be highlighted more than others. And then we apply our experience, my experience as a dealer and as a member of this community and a collector, Russ's experience as an LCS owner, talking to customers, and us just having a pulse on the market, because the news cycle for comics doesn't let up. It's a 24/7 thing. It's all the time, which is why I think really the community values what we do, because if you're busy at all, if you have a job, if you have a family, you're doing anything, you're probably going to miss some stuff. But it's okay, because we're going to be here at the end of the week to discuss it with you.
There you go. And so you've already touched on this just a little bit, but I want to dig a little bit deeper, right? So what I heard you say, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that it is data that is publicly available. It is technically compiled by Nick or somebody at Key Collector app of 20 books that are trending. And from that list, you guys identify at least 10 books, not the top 10, but interesting books that are on that 20 list to then do the video about that you release. Did I state or say anything incorrect in that?
I would say that the only thing that I would correct is, like, I do strive to produce out of the 20, the 10 that I feel like are most worth bringing to the mic. And that traditionally would be like the 10 best, but the ones that are like, I feel like are the most trending in the market. However, there are times where you can have one occurrence in news spike 3 types of books from the same character, right? You can get a variant, you can get a cameo, you can get a first appearance. And in that, we may mention 1 or 2 books, but we'll place the one that we feel like is, it's right for this video because of whatever we have to say about it. And that's where our opinions come in.
And I think what I heard you say also is that the data that I guess Nick or Key Collector app actually uses is publicly available data. And so the question that I have is, without disclosing like any trade secrets or any of that other kind of stuff, can you share with us, like, besides eBay, if there's other places that data is being derived from? Is it all mostly just eBay and mathematical calculations that you guys are doing from one week to the next week, for example?
You want the secret sauce. It sounds like you want to know what spices we're putting into this.
Isn't it just mayo and ketchup?
You know what? Honestly, it really is. I mean, it's really simple. So first off, the books that make a trending list, granted, Key Collector creates a list, and puts the comics together because he's the app is tracking a lot of data and a lot of comics, right? Yeah. However, let's not get it twisted here. These comics write themselves on this list. They put themselves here. There's a reason why these books are trending. That's literally the description under every one of these comics. And it's what we discuss on the show with every number. So how it's compiled, it is as basic as you would think. Honestly, anybody can do this. The way that it happens, and let's just look at this week, for example, because there's no Key Collector trending 20 right now. It's going to come out tomorrow. Yep. So I'm going to hypothesize a little bit. We had news of a Black Panther Wakanda Disney Plus show.
TV show.
That's public. That happens. So the way that would get translated to a trending list is, this is news. We all know it. We have a pulse on the industry. That's why people come to our channels, because we are doing this work on a daily basis. With that said, just be part of this industry and tracking this every single week, talking about these books for over 2.5 years. The first thing that comes to mind is, how is Shitty doing? Where's M'Baku? Right? How are the Black Panther keys? How's the Kirby solo, issue? Like these types of books are all that just on the top of your dome. If you have any pulse on this market, you're going to think of those. Those are where we begin. We look on eBay. What's tracking? What's selling? Boom. Now we have a comic that is kind of got more eyes on it than others on a larger list. And now we're picking and choosing what goes where. Key Collector does this information for us because it's all the tracking's being done. It's all there with reason. But then we get to the list, me and Russ, sometimes Nick helps over at Key Collector, and we organize it to a top 10 to really compact it, make it just digestible and entertaining.
And I think that really honestly is probably the secret sauce, right? It's the fact that you guys are compiling it. It's the fact that you're synthesizing it. You're not just giving the data, but you're also putting some texture to it. Like, why is this happening, right? So it's like that, in my opinion, it's the combination of like the data with the market trends, the fact that you have a pulse on what is actually happening, and then a little bit of like just like speculation. Like, we think that this is happening, but it's all informed, to your point, by the fact that you are a part of the comic book community, and this is how you think, and this is what you've been doing. Like, 2 years of that's a grind. I'm gonna be completely honest. That's a grind, brother. That's a serious commitment. But would you agree that it's like that it's a mixture of those things? To your point, anybody can compile the data. It's the delivery and the speculation and the layers that go on top of that data that I think makes it really engaging.
Absolutely. And also, I'll point out too, the data that we're referencing that's collected via eBay is, we are covering like auction sales. We're covering high sales. We're covering average sales, by doing the math and figuring out approximate value, right? The hot list is totally different. The hot list, we have to follow Comics Link, GPA, Heritage, all the things that you would expect to follow the blue chip books that are going to sell in the market, that are going to make a list like that. So we're covering all of our bases, but the trending video is largely compiled with eBay data. And absolutely, to answer your question, yes. I think that's where we bring the most value. We're trying to make the last week of comics in the market just easily. You come in and you watch and you're entertained and you're getting the information you need so that you feel like you got everything in one spot, condensed, so you understand what's going on in the market. Actually, you can't see it on set right here, but I'll move it over a little bit. Actually, screw it. I'll take it off. It's my copy. I sit next to this right here every day.
Yeah.
When I'm on the set. It's Wizard #1. And this was what inspired our lists, right? Like, we go into this magazine. I was buying this magazine like well after it was even produced, because, us dealers, we have I don't know, there's just a place in our hearts for this magazine. And this is something that we all did. We open it up, we go right to the list and want to get up-to-date information. And at the time, this was a monthly thing.
Yes.
And you would see New Mutants 87 on the list every single time, right?
Yep.
So, we're trying to do something similar, but in modern day, where we can actually do the grind weekly for the community. And
I'll be honest, brother. I was in a comic shop once, and I heard a voice, and I was like, this voice sounds very familiar. And so I kind of peeked over the aisle, and I'm like, I don't see anybody talking. It was a guy with his cell phone in his hand like this, and he was getting books off the shelf while listening to you simultaneously. And I'm like, come on, man. I'm in the shop. Can you at least put me on?
I love it.
But I kind of glanced over and I was like, oh, you listen to Comic Tom? Yeah, I like him. I'm like, okay, so you don't even recognize me at all. Okay, cool. Doesn't hurt my feelings. But I appreciate the breakdown that you just provided, as well as the distinction between the two lists that you guys put out, because they are very different. So as you think about what it is that you do for the trending video, right? Because that is the focus of this. In your mind, how should a viewer be thinking about this video and what should they be doing as a result of this? And I mean, first and foremost, you can probably just say, hey, you can just enjoy it, because part of what we do is enjoyment, right? But is there in your mind, as you think about this, when you created this video, how should people be using the data that is presented in this video every single week?
Oh, okay. That's a good question, because really when I go into making this video, I don't think about how members are going to utilize it, because I get told all different ways people utilize it. Sometimes they like to just get a snapshot of the industry, right? Sometimes it's, utilizing it on the hunt, dollar bin diving. Sometimes it's to know what's in your back issues and be reminded that, hey, if you got some Sandman right now is your time. Break it out. Go send it down to Florida. Like, come on, it's happening. Neil Gaiman just tweeted. Like, sometimes it's
already down there. It's already down there. My Sandman's down there. Keep going, brother. I'm sorry. I got excited.
No, I love it. I know. I struck home. So it means I'm doing it for you, man. So yeah, those are some things, obviously, we hear about it, and that's why it brings value. There's a lot of different things that we do. And it's different call to actions that may happen just by watching it, not me telling somebody to do something or something like that. But my main intention when I hit the mic is two things. I want to bring the most accurate reporting of the last week in comics. I want to come with the info, and I want it to be just clear as day, so that when you leave, you have a better understanding of what's going on, and to be entertained. I want to make what is, in my opinion, the coolest medium that's ever existed. The art form of what is comics, from modern age to golden age, everything. It's the coolest thing ever. And it's as long as I can communicate that's really my goal with every piece of content that I do. Because although what's caught on is our trending videos, when we're doing our full slate of content, when we're like firing on all cylinders, putting out like on average 4 videos a week is what we traditionally do, that's less than half of what we do. And half of our community, which we have almost 40K, watch those videos. The other half, they're the 101. They're the intro. They're the people who just want to hear us chat about comics. They want to hear about the grind and the hunts and the success stories and what we are unboxing and what we're getting, and that's a huge amount of people as well that we serve. So it's really, just trying to get as many people into comic books. That's my goal when I produce these videos.
Yep. That's super helpful, because when I think about my own content and my channel, it's a combination of information and entertainment. And when I do it right, it's infotainment, right? I mean, I don't always hit it right, but that's the goal, is to provide people with some information in an entertaining format that keeps them engaged, that makes them excited about the hobby, that is also welcoming, right? That is like, hey, this is actually a pretty cool hobby to come into. So why don't you come on in and join us? The water is fine. Join the Gibbon gang, right? The comic fam, come on in. It's cool, right? So I think it's helpful to understand the context in your mindset. But as we get ready to wrap up here, I do have a couple of other questions that I want to ask you, because your channel subscriber count right now is what?
We're pushing 40K, right around 35, right around there.
Okay, I'm super jealous. But anyway, let's set that aside. You have a lot of people. You also put out a lot of content, right? To your point. And when you have that size of a population of people that listen to you, that tune in every single video, every single week, and listen to what you say, and when you have that much content, like high quality content that comes out, those two things typically come with a little bit of scrutiny. Right. So the question that I have for you is, what is it that you say to the naysayers that kind of poo-poo what it is that Comic Tom 101 is attempting to do? What do you say to those people, if anything?
The proof is in the pudding. I mean, it is what it is. We deliver this video because the community likes it. We wouldn't do it otherwise. They get value from it. They're coming out informed. We're getting people into comic books. It's what drives us to do it. And dude, we've chat, like you mentioned at the start of this video, we chat all the time, I chat with Bueller. We're friends. Like, me and Jem are friends. This, like, me being high energy, I talk with my hands a lot. I wear weird hats sometimes, I'm getting mixed reviews about the facial hair, but I figure, like, why not? Like, yeah, you hear everything, right? I hear it all, but dude, I'm a positive guy. Like, what you see is what you get. Like, how I'm with you, Reggie, right now is how I'm with you on the phone. And I'm getting told on the phone, true. Tone it down, It is true. So, like, what you see is what you get. And when you have a, community and you're growing stuff and you get larger, that's going to happen. There's going to be people that just don't like you, and that's okay. There's a lot of great YouTubers. There's a lot of really good YouTubers out there that you can watch. Constructive criticism, that's one thing. I love it. I love hearing about, if my opinion's different. Recently, for example, we were chatting about Magic the Gathering and how Boom's taking it on, and we're so pumped. But it struck a chord with Russ, and he's like, dude, I'm not going to tell people that they need to spec on issue 1 of Magic Shadow Mage. Like, that's not going to happen. This is not a book that's worth more than $1. You will never not be able to find it for more than $1. So I'm like, dude, spit on the mic. That's why we're here. We're going to talk about that. And not everybody agreed.
Give people the perspective.
And wait, you know what? In the comments and I'm getting DMs, I'm getting tags. I disagree with you. And that's awesome, because you know what? They're trying to make the show better. This is like constructive. But when it's mean, I don't have time for that, man. I don't have time for negativity. Like, it's not my style. My viewers, our community here, they don't expect me to honestly kind of like stoop that low to make lazy content about drama and about like just unpleasant things. Like what to what extent? Like, where does that get us? Like, I want constructive criticism, or I don't care. I'm too busy talking about awesome comics. There's so many dope comics to talk about. And the fact that we have a community here that wants to listen, man, it's like, it drives me so hard. It makes me so excited to wake up every single day, to check on Instagram, to go on Facebook, to pull up Bleeding Cool, CBR, where you at? What news is happening? What did Marvel announce? What does DC got going on? Todd Mcfarlane was on my show last week. Like, I talked to Todd Mcfarlane for an hour and 45 minutes.
How cool is that?
This is the best job in the world. I'm talking to amazing creators and making content for such a welcoming community, just a stellar people. Like, I got nothing but love and positively to pour into this content. As soon as something weird like comes up, it's negative, making fun, or just like nothing constructive, it's like that. You got to have thick skin in this game. It doesn't really matter at that point.
And it honestly takes a little bit of time to develop that thick skin, right? When you first get that first thumbs down, that first negative comment, you're like, oh my gosh, my soul is crushed. But then you're like, no, I won't let anybody win, right? And for me, I think that's one of the things that people enjoy about my show and my content is that I try to be positive. It's easy to be negative. It is easy to be a naysayer. It is easy to poo-poo stuff. It's different if you're trying to be helpful and you're trying to be positive, right? That takes work. But it also is, for me, the fun part of it all, right? Like, you can literally talk about comics every day, all day with somebody around the world. From the time you put your head on the pillow to the time you pick it up, like, you can talk to people around the world. And that's what makes it really fun in my mind.
Absolutely, man. There's never a dull day in this industry, and it's always a lot of fun.
And I think it's about to get turned up, brother. I'll be honest with you, with hopefully with us getting deeper and deeper into 2021, I think that the noise is going to be dialed up, and it's going to be even more exciting. But this COVID period, in many ways, and I've said this before on my own channel, has been good in some ways for the comic book community, because I think honestly we might be a little bit stronger as a result of having sheltered in place and watched so much content and given so much constructive feedback. I think we've all grown and learned from that, Oh,
I completely agree.
As like I said, I wanted to keep this to a certain time, right? Because I know you have stuff to do, and I definitely have some stuff to do. But as we close out here, are there any parting thoughts or comments that you want to make with the roughly 200 people that are currently watching Regie Collects and Comic Tom 101 Mix It Up live on air?
Well, you know what? I'll be totally honest here. I watch your channel all the time, and all my homies do as well. And I feel like I'm part of your community as well. Like, we're all bagging and boarding comics at some point in the day, and we're all listening to each other's stuff. And, I'm a big fan of what you do, Regie, which is why I was very excited to be on your show today. So, to the community here, you're in good hands. Regie's awesome. And make sure you just continue to support what he does. Like this video, like his other videos, make sure you're subscribed. And, like, that kind of stuff really goes a long way. You don't have to buy from any of us. You don't have to give us money, nothing like that. It's awesome support, and we do appreciate it. I don't mean to speak for you, Regie, but I guess I got your store fully portfolio, and I'm freaking pumped about it. I got a bunch for the whole team and stuff. You know, I'm telling everybody, keep it in your car. You never know when you may need it. So
you never know.
It's so true, man. You got to have your portfolio and maybe even a short, just in case if you're getting crazy. But
you know, I keep one at the front of the garage just in case I need to snatch it as I slide out the house. You know, I keep it down there so the wife doesn't actually see it. But I think you're right, man. I will be completely honest that sometimes the best things that people can do for me as a comic book, you know, as a YouTuber, is when they send me a note to say how much my content has actually helped them, like through a difficult time, or just when they were feeling low, or just, hey man, I was at work all last night and I just put you on and I felt better. That's cool. You know, and I'm sure that with your, you know, huge audience versus mine, you also get lots of those love notes. I may just start sending you love notes first thing in the morning. Tom, I want you to have an amazing day. You're such
I need it, man. I need it. It's all good energy, brother. But no, it's like a real feeling. Like it's something that, like, I hope everyone can get a taste of at some point in their life. But, you know, knowing that you provide any level of value to somebody else, especially within a hobby and a community that you care about, like, man, it's a good feeling. Like I sleep well at night knowing, like, man, I'm going to get up tomorrow and do something that people are excited to watch. And they're asking me, like, if I'm late, I'm getting hit up. Like, where's the video?
Where are you? What's going on? Are you okay?
Yeah, exactly. And that's like, dude, you know, we all good. It's awesome. But
I just slept in a little late. I'm sorry. But people, when you deliver something of value and it's a little off or a little late, people miss it. And that's a wonderful feeling, but it also gives you a great motivation to keep pushing and to keep striving for more, you know? But Tom, I want to say again, thank you, brother, for coming on the show. I've absolutely enjoyed you. Hopefully this won't be the last time that we do something like this. Again, wonderful shirt you have on. Get back to the workout. All right. We interrupted the workout, so I want you to get back to that and keep pumping, brother.
Yo, comic fam, you know, it's really great to be here. I'm super stoked to be on Regie's channel today. Come and check out my channel, Comic Tom 101 on YouTube. Of course, we do our trending video every Saturday. We have our hot list video with Gem Mint collectibles on Mondays, and we got a bunch of fun stuff in the works. I mentioned a McFarlane video coming out soon. So yeah, come over and say hi. You'll be in good hands. And yeah, you know, it's got to geek responsibly, you know?
Better late than never.
Absolutely. There it is. Boom. I appreciate
brother.
it.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, my man.
It's good seeing everybody. Thank you.
So there we go. Comic Tom and I finally made some magic happen. So I definitely want to thank all the folks that just dropped the super chats in the room. I absolutely appreciate you guys doing that. What I will also say is, you know, you guys are the ones in many ways that have pushed me to do more of these collaborations. And I want to say thank you for that, right? I mean, you guys, I think it was last year on like maybe Q3-ish, people were like, we love to see you mix it up with more YouTubers. And that's what I have attempted to do. To Tom's point, you know, we are in the information entertainment game, right? And so because of that, people are like, hey, I think it would be cool to see you and other YouTubers. So we've tried to make that magic happen. So I want to thank you guys for continuing to push me in that respect. All right. And again, thanks to all the people that dropped the super chats in the room. I want to get to a couple of news items because, as you guys know, this show is part of us talking about trends and news and events that are happening, and also the interviews as well. But I really quickly want to highlight a couple of things for you guys. One of those things is this right here. We're going to touch on this stuff very, very quickly. There is a new Wonder Girl title that is actually coming out in May. Yara Flora, who is the new Wonder Girl, Wonder Woman, is getting a new title. And when I saw this image, I think that this is the Chicago airport. It has been a long time since I've actually been in an airport, but I have spent a healthy amount of time in this airport, and I believe that is the Chicago airport. But she is getting a new comic that is going to be coming out in May. And part of the reason why I highlight this for you guys, to be honest with you, is that I really like the character, the Yara Flora character. I really dig her. But the other part of it is, as you guys know, there are some people out there that are basically saying that DC is going to cease publication of comics in June. And anytime they announce a new title from DC, I want to try to highlight it to basically say what I've been saying all along, that I do not believe that DC is going to cease publication of their comics. And again, I don't think that they would be launching a new comic in May only to cease publication of that in June. So I kind of want to throw this out there for people to be aware of, and hopefully folks are digging this character in the future state stuff and will actually support this title, because again, if we're saying, hey, don't give us rehashes of characters, give us new characters, kind of sorta, this is a new character that, again, that I hope people will support. And one of the other things that I wanted to share with you guys is this right here. There is a new series that is actually coming out for the Fantastic Four, which I think is well timed, considering the Fantastic Four are going to be debuting in the MCU at some point. So this is the Life Story, and this is a series that is going to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Marvel's first family in a radical new way. And I don't know that we know what that radical new way is just yet, but what they're going to be doing is releasing these books very much the same way that they did the Spider-Man life story, in which they did it by the various decades, starting in the 60s, I think all the way to the 2000s, again, to kind of reorient people to Spider-Man, and also in some cases to actually introduce Spider-Man to characters. They're going to do the same thing for Fantastic Four. And right here, you can actually see a pretty awesome cover right there of, I think that's issue #1 of the Fantastic Four life story. But there was a really cool quote here from, I think, the writer. He says, "What I've always loved about the Fantastic Four is how it reduces the cosmic struggle of human survival to the scale of a family squabble, while treating personal relationships as a matter of truly galactic importance, weaving their story and into their world, into our story." I blew that. Weaving their story and their world into our story and what's happening in our world over the last 60 years was an important reminder to me of how smart it is to approach life like that. And so I think that was from the writer that is actually working on this project. And again, this is really well timed because the Fantastic Four are going to be coming to the MCU. And so they're like, hey, let's update everybody on who Marvel's first family is, so that when the movie drops, people understand where these folks actually come from. So those were the two things that I wanted to kind of tee up for you guys. And then the very last thing before we close this out, want to give you guys a reminder that this is the Go Collect giveaway book for this week. So make sure that if you want to win this book, make sure you watch the videos that come out from this channel, and videos are released Monday through Thursday, typically at 3:30 p.m. And this is a really cool book. This is a Two Gun Kid, issue number 73. It is a 9.0 with white pages. So if you're interested in winning that book, make sure you watch all the videos that come out from the channel. And let me bounce to the comment section real quick. Doug is in here. Good to see you. Says, nice interview, Regie. Comic Tom was a great guest. Yes, he was. Scott says, great show. Chuck is like, what news? I think I hit it. I think I hit it. Let me see. Would love to see FF. There we go. Okay, so let me scroll through. Scrolling through. Galactus is everywhere. Yes, indeed. Milt says, looking forward to the FF life story. That's what got me going 60 years ago. So again, Milt, it should be cool, man. I mean, the Spider-Man I felt was really well done. And my guess is that they're going to give Marvel's Fantastic First Family that same type of fantastic treatment. So Oliver's giving a shout out there. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Scrolling. Hold on, let me see what is going on here. Matt Wood says, I used to watch the FF cartoon from the 60s. One of the first books that got me into. There was a FF cartoon. I don't know that I knew that. FF 131 was my very first comic book, says Oliver. That's what's up, man. That is what's up. All right. So again, some cool stuff that is actually happening that, again, I wanted to kind of tee you guys up to. I'm scrolling through some of the comments. I'm actually scrolling up. Black comic character says Spider-Man life story was pretty good, so this should be cool too. Fingers crossed, bro. Fingers crossed that they actually do this one justice as well. So my guess is that they will indeed. So I'm scrolling up. Who is that? Chef says, not surprised with Yara going forward. They made her beautiful. So refreshing to see a beautiful woman that doesn't have a bunch doesn't have a bush haircut and a square jaw. And again, this is one of the things that we had debated for a while, was whether they were going to continue these future state characters into the future. And it looks like they are indeed going to be carrying over many of these characters into future titles, which I think, again, is wonderful, because what's been coming out from future state has actually been pretty solid. So scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing what else is going on. I think we are good. I think we are good. Fake news, says Chris Bigger. Well done. Well done. All right. So again, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me a little bit for this episode of Comic Today. Again, a huge shout out to Comic Tom 101 for coming on the show, hanging out, providing us with some perspective into some of the things that he is doing on his channel and some of the wonderful content that he is putting out. And again, a thank you to all of those people that dropped those wonderful super chats. They were getting by me, so you definitely have my apologies for not highlighting them a little bit better, but I am very appreciative to all of the aforementioned people. As always, if you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects.